The New York Jets have made history, but it's not the kind that we as fans are proud of. The New York Jets season is still winless as the Cowboys come in and kick the Jets in the teeth at MetLife. Our reactions and getting to your questions coming up now on Rich Sports Talk. Hello, everyone, and welcome to Rich Sports Talk, your home for all the latest and greatest on the New York Jets. If you are new to the channel, make sure to hit that like and subscribe button so you don't miss any of our live streams. And if you want to take us on the go, we are available wherever podcasts are available. So make sure to give us a like and subscribe on the podcast. And the New York Jets, what can you say? The New York Jets, I have good news. Made history today, ladies and gentlemen. I know it is shocking, but they have made history today. The New York Jets, for the first time in their franchise, have started 0-5. Aaron Glenn is the first coach in Jets history to start a season winless in the first 5 games. Despite how bad the New York Jets and their long and painful history have been, only 2 coaches before Aaron Glenn started a season 0-4. They were Lou Holtz in 1976 and Adam Gase. And we know what happened. Adam Gase was 2 years and done, and Lou Holtz quit at the end of his first season. The Jets have been horrendous, and it keeps going back to this head coach. And there is a lot to talk about, but I'll react to Aaron Glenn's press conference. But this, once again, feels like we are watching the same movie again and again and again. It's just the names have changed. Tell me if you've heard this. The Jets are on an impressive drive. They're within the red zone. They fumble the football. Their defense then allows a 95-plus yard drive for a touchdown. I'm talking about the Miami game, right? I could be, but I'm talking about this game. Instead of Braylon Allen, it's Breece Hall. The Jets this season lead the NFL with 7 fumbles, the most in the league, and they still remain the only team in the National Football League to not have forced a turnover. I'm repeating myself. They are the only team in the National Football League through 5 games that have not forced a turnover. This defense has allowed 157 points. There's a lot to get into this game. But what I think needs to be pointed out, despite the fact that we have seen this team now back-to-back weeks give up a huge touchdown drive after a fumble, the Jets are still an undisciplined team. 8 penalties in the first half alone. 8 penalties. And this defense is a 5-alarm fire right now, ladies and gentlemen, because for the second time in 3 weeks, the Jets did not only go against an offensive line that had injuries, but they went against a depleted one. The Cowboys today only had 1 starting tackle, Terrence Steele. The rest of them were backups. TJ Bass, Brock Hoffman, Hakeem Adeji, and Nate Thomas. All backups. Jets had 1 sack. 1 sack. And oh, by the way, the Cowboys, who have the worst defense statistically in the NFL, well, the Jets just took that crown. The Jets couldn't move the football until the Cowboys basically played prevent defense in the second half. And again, 37-22 is a misconception. This was a massive gap between teams. And you look, the Cowboys scored 2 touchdowns in the final 57 seconds of the first half. They were trying to just get into field goal range, and the Jets couldn't tackle. The Jets in the first half, not game, first half, missed 13 tackles. 13. There are moments where you look at turning points in regimes. And I think that Aaron Glenn is at a very critical crossroads for his coaching tenure. Because now he's the only coach to go 0-5 to start his Jets career. He's supposed to be a defensive coach, And this defense is the worst in the NFL. What do the Jets do well? We keep hearing it over and over from Aaron Glenn. We are not the same old Jets. And you know what, Aaron Glenn? I hope that there's someone in that facility. Can someone in the Jets facility either allow Aaron Glenn to talk to a fan, talk to someone that covers this team? Because if I have to hear on Friday one more freaking time that this team had a great week of practice, we could care less. We would rather have a crap practice and a good game on Sunday. We don't care about practices. This team looks outmanned, outgunned, and outcoached. And I'll give Adam Gase and Robert Saleh a little bit of the benefit of the doubt, because when we talk about talent, those teams were devoid of talent. The Jets were in the bottom tier of the NFL in talent. They have good players. They have talent at positions. They have an offensive line that actually is pretty good, but the problem is when your quarterback holds the ball for the most amount of time in the NFL and takes sacks, it's not a good look. This team just looks outmatched every freaking week. And this, again, I want to remind people, this defense got bullied by a backup offensive line. 4 backups took this Jets defense's lunch money for 4 quarters. The Cowboys ran for 180 yards. You know what the Cowboys look like? They look like the smash mouth version of the Jets that we were hoping for. And don't let the 378 total yards fool you. A lot of them were in garbage time. The Jets, again, can never get off the field on a 3rd down and long. The Jets, of course, allowed 5 sacks today, only got 1 sack on defense. And the Jets, too, you've seen this now multiple times. They fumble in the red zone, and then their defense lets the other team just dog walk down the field for 90-plus yards to get a touchdown. It is unbelievable. Absolutely unbelievable. Let's face it, the Jets got 16 points of garbage time. And speaking of that garbage time, Aaron Glenn, Tanner Engstrom, can you explain to me in the 3rd quarter when this team is down 30-3, we're kicking field goals? You say you're not the same old Jets. Well, I've seen that movie God knows how many times when this team base is like, you know what, we're done for the day. Let's just get some points on the board. So hopefully, the box score won't be as embarrassing. Hey, we only lost by this amount instead of this amount. Where is the aggressiveness? Where is the tenacity? And to me, the biggest problem I have with Aaron Glenn now is I have now seen these mistakes time and time and time again. And we'll get into Steve Wilks especially, and I'll get into your comments, super chat to jump to the front of the line. But I see this over and over and over again. This defense doesn't look like an NFL defense. This defense is horrendous. This defense can't stop anyone. You have the Cowboys, who once again had 4 backups. This should have been a feeding frenzy. And instead, it was just the Cowboys taking the Jets' lunch money and lunch while they were at it too. Aaron Glenn is also in a very interesting situation because I know what fans are saying on social media. Fire Steve Wilks. Steve Wilks is horrendous. Steve Wilks needs to go. Steve Wilks needs to be fired. I do think Steve Wilks will be the sacrificial lamb. But now Aaron Glenn's getting into a very difficult position. Because with Aaron Glenn now, he has to now realize he's going to pull that ripcord eventually. But he has to time it right. He can wait till the end of the season. But this team is 2-15 or 1-16 or 3-14, and I'm sorry, it's looking more like that every day. Are you going to sit there and go, we trust this regime to develop the next quarterback? I don't think so. I have a hard time seeing that. But if he gets rid of, let's say week 8, I'll call the defense, and this defense still stinks. So it wasn't the defensive coordinator, it was the head coach. To me, Aaron Glenn now is in a terrible situation because at some point he's got to make this defense look credible. And I think the biggest thing is firing Wilks. But when he waits till the end of the season, he might not have a job the way this is going because this is ugly. And I ask you guys earnestly in the comments, is this one of the worst Jet teams we've ever seen? We've seen bad. The 2020 Jets were bad. We've seen bad. Kotite years are bad. This might be one of the worst teams. And the thing is, I understand that they don't have Aaron Rodgers here. I understand, but a lot of the pieces to the team that had leads last year and blew them in the fourth quarter are still here. There's still some talent on this team, and they cannot figure out a way to put it together, which is mind-numbing to me. Absolutely mind-numbing to me. And I will talk about Aaron Glenn a little bit more. I'll get to some of your comments. But I also will point this out. I was right about Braylon Allen last week. That idiotic returning kicks on the kickoff gets hurt, and you can see the impact of him not being out there, even though I think Isaiah Davis had a nice game. But this team just is such a mess. They are such a problem with this culture. And I will have a big comment on Aaron Glenn, but I see the comment section is filling up. Let's get to your question. Super chat to the front of the line. Good afternoon, JW. The game was tragic. I'll be honest, I didn't watch most of the second half. I again, it's my birthday today. I needed the mental capacity to come on here and do this. I'm like, I need to just turn this off because I knew what was going to happen. They'll have some nice drives. And again, I heard Greg Olsen, we're seeing some nice up-tempo from the Jets. Like, because the Cowboys went to prevent defense. They stopped trying. We see this all the time. And they look lifeless. Again, JW doesn't trust the regime. Anna Horvath, we are the kings of garbage time point. Hey, if there was a garbage time stat to bet, bang the over for the Jets. Just bang the over. Yeah. Johnson needs to have an emergency up there. And I don't trust this regime with the quarterback. I don't, because they clearly don't allow this quarterback to get the football out quick and let him take sacks in the pocket. It is just so mind-numbing. And it's weird, too, because the offense isn't the biggest problem for this team. Like, you're seeing Josh Reynolds gain volume. You're seeing Mason Taylor. Like, this defense, like, what happened? This defense is absolutely mind-numbing. They can never get off the field. They can always have bad penalties. Sauce Gardner is getting abused out there in one-on-one coverage. And you look, the Jets, when they start 0-5, we've had 2020 that start 0-4, they went 2-14. It is just so I'm just watching Glenn's presser right now. So yeah, I'm dying to see what he has to say after this game. But again, but it's little things with this team too. Like, they don't have the roster management. Jermaine Johnson missed his third game. If they knew this injury was going to be more than 2 weeks, why don't they put him on the short-term IR and make sure to open up a roster spot? But I mean, look, the Jets are on 31 points per game this year. That is inexcusable with supposedly a defensive staff. And that to me is there's two very concerning things I see with Aaron Glenn. And tell me if you think I'm wrong. Would love to hear your opinions, but I think there are two very important things that worry me with Glenn. I'll start with the coach himself and then how he's connecting with the players. When you hire a coach, they are known for one side of the ball. They are expected to have one side of the ball locked up. But even Robert Saleh, we saw that defense is difficult to transition. He had issues his first year, but we saw some progress. We saw some glimpses. This, to me, was when I came in this season, I thought Steve Wilkes is a veteran defensive play caller. Aaron Glenn's a defensive coordinator. Like, the defense will at least be buttoned up and won't be the issue. But my God, what was I wrong? Yeah, great birthday present. Thank you. I appreciate it. It is just so freaking frustrating watching this team week in and week out look like this. But Aaron Glenn's supposed to be a defensive coach, right? He's supposed to be a defensive guru. Then how is it that teams are bullying this team? How is it that a team now, not once, but twice in 5 games, a team with most of their offensive line backups in there are dominating this defense? That is embarrassing. Teams keep running the same play over and over and over again. And guess what? The Jets can't do anything to stop it. This defense looks absolutely horrific. They look terrible. They can't do anything. They don't know their personnel well. And what I also think is very telling is this. When you have an emotional coach, you don't want the players to check out. We heard all about Aaron Glenn ripping this team and going ballistic in Miami after the Monday night embarrassment. And this is the effort they gave him. That to me is really concerning because he lit into the Monday night. This is unacceptable. This can't happen again. But it happened again. I'm not seeing effort from this team. I'm not seeing this team bought in. And I feel like this team is looking at going, we had bad coaching last year. We're seeing it again. And I'll say this, like even with Adam Gase, and this is I'll give you this, Aaron Glenn. You did something I thought I would never do in my life again. You're making me say nice things about Adam Gase. You're making me say things that I don't want to say. But this, to me, is just so freaking painful. And this was one of my biggest concerns with Aaron Glenn. And again, super chat to jump to the front of the line. Again, also help make a donation to the channel to help us grow with our content. And check us out wherever podcasts are available. If we were to rewind the clocks, people asked me on this channel who my head coaching choices were. And I would say Aaron Glenn wasn't near the top of the list. If people were to ask me who my top two choices are, number one would be Mike Vrabel, which again, we know went to the Patriots. I understood that. My number two choice was Brian Flores. And when people asked me and criticized that choice, I said two things that stood out to me with Brian Flores. Number one, Brian Flores had experience as a head coach and was fired as a head coach, not because of what he was doing as a head coach, but because he didn't get along with ownership and followed the GM who picked the quarterback he didn't want, and seemingly he would have made the right choice with the quarterback. The other thing I looked at too was motivation. Yes, I know Aaron Glenn wants to turn around the Jets and has passion for the Jets. But one of the reasons I really, truly believed that Bill Belichick was so good for so long and why he stuck it to the Jets was he hated that organization for how they treated him. And the biggest reason I wanted Brian Flores was two reasons. Number one, the Patriots passed on him multiple times to be a head coach. So that I think would have fueled him. But he despised the Dolphins. You don't think if Brian Flores was here, that Dolphins Monday night game would have been a Super Bowl and he would have done everything in his power to win that freaking game and keep the season along? My biggest problem with Aaron Glenn was I liked him as a coordinator. But when you're hiring first-time defensive coordinators, which we've seen time and time and time again, they are massive risks. And we're seeing it now. Aaron Glenn looks to be drowning as a head coach. And what's more damning is the side of the ball that's supposed to be his is looking absolutely horrendous. And a big decision that Aaron Glenn made, and I think it is biting him in the rear end right now, is this. Aaron Glenn wanted to be the leader of this team. So he made decisions. Now, ultimately, I think moving on from Aaron Rodgers for the long term of this franchise was the best decision. But not keeping veteran players here, not bringing in veterans from Detroit who understood the scheme, that understood what this coaching staff was looking for, was very alarming. And you're seeing it now where this team doesn't have a leader or guys that understand the scheme or understand what this coach is looking for. Aaron Glenn has put it all on him to be this team's leader. He is this team's icon. He is this team's feature presentation. It all starts with him, but unfortunately, Aaron, it all comes back to you when you're the leader. You looked, attitude reflects leadership. And I'll tell you, the Jets' attitude looks absolutely disgusting right now. And this is the problem. You're a first-time head coach trying to figure things out, but at the same time, you look overwhelmed. This team does not look prepared. It's the same things over and over again. I could just say the Jets had too many penalties, didn't create a turnover, had bad turnovers, looked overmatched, looked like they weren't ready to play, and were outcoached. And that basically is the summary pretty much from all 5 games this season. So I'm looking at this right now, and I don't think the Jets want to have a one-and-done head coach, but I am at the point now with Aaron Glenn, he's really going to have a massive turnover. he's going to have a massive, massive turnaround. And even if he does, Jet fans, I don't think are going to buy in, because we saw this with Adam Gase. Adam Gase, we wanted to be a one-and-done head coach. I was screaming that he was not going to work. But then, against bad teams down the stretch, they somehow went 6-2. And they're going in the right direction. Well, he's figured it out. And we all saw what happened the next year. 0-4 start, 2-14, and it a absolutely disaster of a season. And it just feels like, too, if this team really believed in Aaron Glenn, if this team really understood, they would have come out and fought on Monday night after he blew up. And the thing, too, is, and I agree with Kev, it feels like Wilkes and Glenn are just being stubborn on defense. It's like they're basically looking out there and saying, okay, we know this is going to work. And I had the same criticism with Saleh. I feel like I'm living in the twilight zone. It's just certain things are a little bit different. Saleh last year, or Olbrich, stop just rushing forward. You need to blitz. You need variety on this defense. It is frustrating. Oh, and guess what, guys? The Jets have also made history. They're the first team in NFL history to have 0 takeaways in the first 5 games of the season. And you have a defensive head coach. Aaron Glenn, we're going to do everything we can to fix this. Well, at this point, you got to show us. This is an 0-5 start for a coach in a franchise that, may I remind you, has hired Rich Kotite and Adam Gase, who vehemently, we have said, are 2 of the worst coaches we have ever seen in the National Football League. And yet the Jets somehow surpassed them. I mean, I guess the good news is the Jets have the number 1 pick according to Tankathon today. And I know what people are going to say. Wow, Justin Fields finished with 283 passing yards, 2 TDs. Wow, that was all garbage time. So much garbage time. And look, no sacks until late in the game. Did not force turnovers. What do the Jets do well? What do they do well? This team feels like they are regressing week after week. It's mind-blowing. They're the first team to start 0-5 with no takeaways. They can't recover a fumble. They can't force an interception. This defense, but we'll keep trying out Michael Clemens every week. We'll keep trying out Tony Adams every week. We'll keep trotting all these guys out who are terrible. They are absolutely horrendous. And I came into this season going, if even this is an average coaching staff, this team will be decent. They can't. Do the Jets have the worst staff in the second consecutive year? You could certainly make a case. Like, I'm sitting here and I'm grasping at straws, trying to find silver linings, but it's impossible. Aaron Glenn getting more involved with the defensive play calling, said the Lions defense struggled in 2021. Dan Campbell stopped by Aaron Glenn, says he's sticking by Steve Wilkes. Well, at some point, you're going to have to pull the Wilkes parachute, and that's going to determine your faith. Aaron Glenn, we're all in this together, and that starts with me. It's got to take time, fellas. Point out again. Talked to Terry Dungy earlier in the week. Stop it. It just stop it. Oh, well, I'm talking to this coach. I'm talking to this coach. You know, we have to do better with the defensive play call. And can we stop referring to the 2021 Lions? Can we stop doing this with this coaching staff? Oh, the 2021 Lions we were terrible. Oh, the 2021 Lions, we turn it around. You know what they didn't have on the 2021 Lions? They didn't have talent. They had to build that. That took time. We all knew that team was horrendous. This team has talent. And I keep hearing, oh, the Lions were bad. Oh, the Lions, we figured it out. You know what the difference was? Every week, the Lions were in a rock fight. You knew the Lions were not a good football team in 2021, but you knew what they were in every single game. They fought and clawed like hell. They were a team you did not want to play because they were going to fight you tooth and nail. They were going to be nasty. They were going to be a bunch of a-holes come Sunday. Jets are not like that at all. Jets are not like that at all. Tony Adams, Tony and Brandon Stevens, just ridiculous. It's so freaking horrendous. And, you know, you want to blame this roster construction. Like this week, once again, Like Aaron Glenn said, we're going to do everything we do to fix this. We see the same thing every week. We're not seeing improvement. It took you 3 weeks to figure out, hey, Mason Taylor, our second-round tight end, maybe let's try throwing to the football. Great idea. Like every week, this defense looks overmatched. The Cowboys, I understand they have great weapons. They were down 4 starting offensive linemen. Looking forward, what do you think good offensive teams are going to look at the Jets and go? You look at the Jets' schedule next week in London in a primetime morning game, by the way. You don't think Sean Payton, who hates the Jets, isn't going to want to embarrass them in primetime? You don't think with that offense, he's not going to try to basically embarrass them? The Panthers' offense has talented players. Bengals, even without Burrow, they have tough receivers. I'm just looking at the Jets' schedule like, where's the wins coming from? Where? Even the Saints, say what you will about the Saints. The Saints won today. Guess what? They're not. They're not a winless football team anymore. The Jets are. The Saints, who are starting Spencer Rattler at quarterback, who we thought would be lucky to win 2 or 3 games. Yeah, they won a game today. Jets are winless. Winless. There's only 2 teams in the NFL that are winless. Jets and Titans. The Titans haven't even played their 5th game yet. So there's a chance by the time they play their 5th game, the Jets are going to be the only winless team. It is unbelievable. And I'm telling you this, if the Jets get the number 1 pick, you got to clean house. And I would say this, but you got to get someone. This is going to require a grown-up to turn this around. And right now, I'm not seeing it. And what I'm seeing right now is a stubborn coaching staff that is saying, we're going to get it right. We're going to get it right. But every week, I keep seeing the same things over and over and over again. It just feels like Groundhog Day as a New York Jet fan. Just change the names, just change certain scenarios, but the results are always the same, which is such a maddening takeaway. And look, he's putting the play calling on Wilkes, but your defense is giving up 31 points a week. It is just horrendous. And listen to the Jets press. They are saying like they've covered a lot of games. This is one of the worst games that we've ever seen for the Jets. Like this looked coat-tighty like. This is absolutely horrendous. And full disclosure, I didn't see Rich coat-tight games. So I'm not old enough as a Jet fan to have had that experience. So I'm not going to sit here and pretend I don't understand that experience. But this team, the Cowboys, are mediocre at best. They had no plan on offense. Just hand the ball off to Breece Hall, I guess. Defense can't tackle, can't force turnovers. They don't have fire. I mean, Flournoy, who is a practice squad player, they made him a star today. They made him a star. Aaron Glenn, 4th coach in the Super Bowl era to allow at least 27 points in each of his first games as a coach. The other ones, Darrell Bevell, Jimmy Johnson, and Jack Patera. The only difference with Jimmy Johnson was they had to trade everyone from that terrible Cowboys team. It eventually worked out. This is just absolutely horrendous. Like, outside of Breece Hall and Garrett, like, who played well in this game? The Jets don't do anything well. They don't do anything that makes you feel prideful as a fan. You just roll your eyes at this team. And it's just so freaking maddening because this team, when week 1 happened, we thought, oh, this might be a team we could be proud of. And then 4 weeks later, we're sitting here going, well, we got to start doing the draft guides. We got to start looking at the quarterbacks. And I will do a lot of breakdowns in the coming weeks on the quarterbacks because, again, I do a lot of draft content on this channel. Of course, being a Jets channel, you have to do a lot of draft content. But you're going to hear a lot about Gase and Kotite. But this team is so bad. They're not competitive. And in some ways, you wonder, what players do you have to get rid of? Because with this coaching staff, you were hoping this moping that this team does would change, but it's the same. It's like one mistake, which will happen for this team, will torpedo the game. We see it all the time. It's just Breece Hall said it so eloquently against Miami. Other teams shoot themselves in the foot. We shoot ourselves in the head. And he's right. They do. Think about the Cowboys, this offense that put 37 points up today. This team did not have their number one receiver in CeeDee Lamb. They didn't have their left tackle, their left guard, their right guard, their center, their best returner and slot receiver, Kevontae Turpin. And they still went into MetLife. They still went into the Jets building and kicked them in the nards for 3 hours. I'll give Jet fans this. Jet fans are loyal. We put so much into this team just to come away with migraines at the end of every single Sunday. It is so disappointing. And if this coaching staff really thinks that they're going to get another year, well, if this keeps going this direction, I'm sorry. This team is one of the worst teams we have ever seen with the Jets, and that's saying something. That is saying something. We have seen bad football. This is the thing. For the Jets coaching staff that thinks we don't understand bad football, guess what? We understand bad football. Guess what? We live bad football for the better part of 21 freaking years. Let's see. Mets Stearns like Muji with bad roster construction. Well, at least the Mets had a shot at the playoffs. It's just, and again, I do think it starts at the top with Woody and Jaime, but unfortunately, you have to live with them. And you just have to somehow hope they luck into the right hire. Kevin, we get the number 3 pick. We need to trade down to fill so many holes. Look, if you get the number 3, you're taking a quarterback. This isn't like Sam Darnold, where I could see a world where you built around Sam Darnold. You still see Sam Darnold. Justin Fields, look, he has talent. He can make great plays. But the biggest things that he struggled with, he still struggled with. Progressions, reading a defense. His offensive line, and again, I feel like this offensive line is getting so much unfair treatment because they have a good offensive line. The Jets are giving their quarterback the most time to throw in the league. The problem is their quarterback can't read their defenses and can't go through progressions. It was a struggle. And unfortunately, when you don't have the skill set to also separate from these guys, and again, Jacob Lefkowitz, good to see you, my buddy. If Jacob's still in the chat, I'm guessing I want to know, did you go to MetLife today? What was the atmosphere like, and are you driving back? And I would say college would definitely be a stretch, Jacob. I'm not sure necessarily. I love Jacob, man. He's such a good friend. I do want to know if he's still in the chat, if he went to the game or not today, though, and if he's sitting right now on the New Jersey Turnpike on the way home. I think you're right, Kev. I might need to start doing Rich Sports Talk merchandise, start doing some T-shirts, and just basically put on the back, we're not loyal, we're sick. I mean, I will say this, ladies, date a Jets fan. If you want loyalty, date a Jets fan. Because I know, Jacob, but again, unless Gary V somehow wins the lottery, I don't see that happening. And you got to get someone to buy this team. And look, and I'll tell you this, Jacob is as diehard of a Jets fan as they come. And when he stops spending money on the team, it's bad. And look, if you want to send a message to Jet fans, just don't go to the games. It's embarrassing. Like, I know that stadium was 70% Cowboys games, but I'll tell you this. Jets are not getting close to a setup. And here's the thing. Jet fans will show up if you give them a good team or the illusion of a good team. We saw it for the last 2 years with Aaron Rodgers. They packed that stadium. You know, it is just so frustrating. And look, I'm going to try to get some merch out to Jacob eventually. Again, I'll look into doing that. I'll do some fun Jets shirts. Again, give me some guys. Yeah, I'll do like a Woody T-shirt. I don't want to play with you anymore with Woody Johnson on it. So again, good stuff, Jacob. Again, let's check in with some of the press conferences, with some of the stayings for the Jets. Again, Super Chats jump to the front of the line, donate to the channel, and also get to your point in front of everyone else. Also, make sure to like, subscribe so you miss our latest live stream. Sauce Gardner, what happened to the George Pickens TD busted coverage? Of course. Garrett Wilson on the Jets saying they've had good practice. It's not translating. If my best reps are on Thursday, that doesn't help us. I got to be my best on Sundays. We got to be our best. You can't put it better. Could Garrett Wilson coach this team? Like, seriously. Like, the thing that drives me nuts is I don't know how Aaron Glenn's done it, but he keeps doing the Salah-isms. Can someone at One Jets Drive give me 20 minutes? Give me 10 minutes. Hell, give me 5 minutes. Hell, give me 30 seconds and a piece of paper. And I'll say, Aaron, if you don't want to piss off Jet fans, here are the following phrases not to say. Don't say we're not the same old Jets. Don't say we had a great week at practice. Don't tell me that the effort's good. Don't tell me we're seeing good things in practice. Well, you know what your great practice was too? And I tweeted this at the Rich Sports Talk on X earlier. I said, well, I guess the punching fist or the boxing glove didn't help. We saw Aaron Glenn running around punching the running backs this week, trying to make sure they're on the ball. Didn't work with Brees this week. And again, is that a great practice? Because I'll tell you this, if we did records on practice, the Jets would have won 15 consecutive Super Bowls based on amazing practices. But again, as the great Allen Iverson would say, talking about practice, not the game, practice. I'm done with, we had a great week of prep. No, you didn't. You had a great week of prep. Guess what? You'd win freaking football games. You'd be competitive. And unfortunately, you saw it in this broadcast, the national team was even saying, well, the Jets have lost in one possession games. They didn't watch those games because the Jets were down multiple possessions. It's just the Bucs decided to stop playing defense. And, Todd Bowles almost did another Todd Bowlesian loss, which we've seen countless times, and tried to give that game to the Jets. The Dolphins are just absolutely horrendous and took their foot off the gas. And even today, the Jets couldn't, if the Cowboys wanted to, they could have kept the Jets under 10 points. They really could have. And this is one of the worst defenses in the league. This is a defense that struggles, and they had 4 sacks. Then you look at the Jets. This Jet team, this Jet defensive line, 1 sack, and it came late in this game. Like, if you are a quarterback in this league, you want to play the Jets because you're not going to need an ice bath when you get off that field. You might feel like you could play another 4 or 5 quarters because they don't touch you. They don't put pressure on you. This defense doesn't do anything well. They don't hit the quarterback. Like, they don't even put fear in teams. They just go up and down the field, up and down the field, up and down the field. But we keep throwing out the same personnel, keep throwing out the same bodies. We keep doing it week after week after week. It is just frustrating. I like that, Kev. I'll do that'll be a long list, though. I mean, we'll have to come up with ideas, Kev, just all the different sayings. What not to say as the head coach of the NYJ. Fun will change everything. I would never pay Brees Hall. It would be regretted. The hard part now, too, is the Jets kind of screwed themselves. I think the Jets could have gotten a decent deal for Brees Hall at the deadline, but they're not doing that because, we have to have Braylon Allen return kickoffs. I'm not even going to go that parallel. Go check out my shorts where I absolutely went and lost my freaking mind after that Miami game. I mean, I know we're going to do a trade deadline special. I know a lot of people will be asking, who do you trade the deadline? I have a bit of a hot take for a person to trade. I'll get more into this roster. Again, who's trained for pieces on the Jets? But if I'm the Jets, I'm working the phone for Tyrod Taylor. He's like the one player of value. They're obviously going to play with Fields. If Fields gets hurt at this point, let Brady Cook play. They're 0-5. Who cares? Like, I would see if I can get picks for Tyrod Taylor. The problem is this regime, you know what? Maybe this regime does think they're going to be making picks next year. You know what? Let them trade for draft picks. If they do get fired, at least they'll have more capital to play with next year. It's just absolutely horrendous. Yeah, here we go again every week. And it hasn't changed the culture, Kev. This culture is rotten. But this staff had a chance. And this is why I think this is on this staff. This staff, you chose to get rid of Aaron Rodgers, who wanted to still be here. You made that decision. You made that decision because you thought he was an issue in the locker room. Well, you didn't do a good enough evaluation because you paid Sauce. I agree with paying Garrett. You paid some Sauce. You paid Sherwood before you had to. Now, you could have franchised Sherwood, but you didn't. You could have waited to pay Sauce. I would have, just to see how he fits in your scheme, how he fits the vibe of this new regime. Well, now you've committed all those money to him. And also, like, the guys they've invested in have been horrendous. Brandon Stevens, once again, can you turn your head around? Andre Sisco, who was going to be their starting safety, has been absolutely horrendous. They could have moved on from Tony Adams. They decided to keep him. He's been horrendous. Like, outside of Quinnen Williams and, Will McDonald lining up offsides today, I think he's just the point. Like, he's just trying to make some impact on this game. And the thing with Will McDonald is the problem is he hasn't a chance. He's a pass rusher. The Jets are always behind. So teams are just running out the clock at him. He doesn't have the chance to go after the quarterback. Dan from New York, can this Charles Reed change without a total cleaning of house? I don't know how to remove the stench, even if it means moving stars. I think you're going to have to make some decisions. I mean, there is a world where I could see this team potentially moving off of Sauce in the offseason. I don't know what their thoughts are on Brees. I think Garrett Wilson is a guy who's – if you had to ask me who the untouchables are, the only one I can think of is Garrett. That is the only one. Not this rookie class I wouldn't touch. The offensive line I wouldn't touch. But I love Quinnen. But if you feel like you need to move on from him and get a fresh start, you have to. But I also am curious too, like, do we trust this organization now to make the right decisions? Because this team came into the roster that didn't have a legitimate number 2 or 3 receiver. They came into this season where I thought they were going to do a lot of heavy personnel. I mean, they had to get Jelani Woods on the priority free agent waiver, but he's only suited up once. They had to get all these tight ends, but they are always having 2 inactives. And they don't play the young kids. Leonard Taylor, let him play. He's inactive again. What is it about Michael Clemens and McGregor that make you feel like – I said, like, this is the other problem with this team too. If we as the fans can come up with better ideas for this team, that is not a good look for this organization. I've been screaming it since week 2. Put Leonard Taylor at defensive end, see what he can do. You know he can kick inside and rush the passer. Can he hold the edge? I know he's not a good run defender inside, but he's 300 pounds. Can he hold the edge, have a big jumbo defensive line? They don't even try that. They just keep, we'll just throw Michael Clemens. We'll just throw Michael Clemens. We'll throw Michael Clemens. Like, this roster is so poorly constructed. They had no depth. They had opportunities to bring in guys to be backups on this defensive line. Your number 2 pass rusher was Jermaine Johnson, who's coming off an Achilles, and you didn't have a backup plan for if he got hurt. It's just the linebacker that you have Quincy and Sherwood. Quincy goes down. You go, oh, damn. Every position on this team, and then you jeopardize your own depth chart by saying, let's have Braylon Allen return a kick. We only want to run the ball, and that's going to be the focal point of our offense. You throw him out there on a kick return, and he hits his UCL, and now he's out for weeks. Like, what is it, 8 to 12 weeks? It's just so freaking frustrating. Kev, I would not say that. There are scenarios I could see AVT back again if you could get him on a 1-year deal. I think that could be a possibility. I wouldn't fully rule him out yet. The other thing, too, is John Simpson. Like, I've been saying they should have locked John Simpson, even though he has those mindless penalties. I think there's a chance John Simpson's just going to go, you know what? I've played well here for 2 years. I'm going to hit the open market. I'm going to get paid. And if that's the case, then you're almost forced to bring back AVT on a 1-year deal. Yeah, Mark, I don't make those decisions. I wish I did, but I don't. But look, we'll talk about the draft on this channel, so make sure to like and subscribe. We will talk about the quarterback prospects. We will talk a lot in depth as this season continues to progress. And again, I'll still watch this team. I know a lot of you are going to check out. Aaron Glenn, the Preds have been damn good. Well, guess what? Your game days have been damn awful. How about that? They've been absolutely horrendous. John Simpson, emotional after 0-5, starts saying he still believes we're going to turn this around, wiping tears from his eyes. It's just so freaking horrendous. It's I just don't know what else to do. But like at this point, Garrett Wilson, like I like Garrett Wilson because he's like, look, everyone's talking about practice. Aaron Glenn, oh, we're having great practices. Well, guess what? You're not translating the games if something's not happening. John Simpson, I think the future of this organization is bright. I'm happy to be a part of it. I know deep down I get emotional about this S, but I know we're going to turn this around. They better do it quick because the fans have checked out. I said Miami was the turning point this season. I said they won in Miami. You could sell, okay, at least they're not in last place. They beat the worst team we thought in this division. There's something to build off. I said if they lost Miami, fans are checking out. And you saw it today. Like, even at halftime when this team is getting booed off the field, you saw basically half the stadium was more than Cowboy fans. They were all cheering. And then I remember watching the Garrett Wilson touchdown to get it to 22 points, and they show the wide shot of the stadium, and all you see is the gray seats. It's like, yeah, no one's there. The only guys that are there, so maybe a couple of Cowboys fans. I mean, Jet fans, they're done. They're done with this team. They're not going to go to these games this year. What is there to see? Because the other thing, too, is what is there to build off? This isn't a team that's 0-5 with a rookie quarterback who you want to see the progression or you want to see something. You know Justin Fields is not the long-term answer. He is the answer this year and maybe is the bridge next year. What is the thing you want to watch on Sunday? Like, does this defense make you proud? No. Does this offense make you proud? No. Like, this team doesn't do anything well. And I'll say this about Aaron Glenn. You talked weeks ago, and I think this is important because it deals with Steve Wilkes. You said that you're not going to take away play calling. Okay. You also made the quote a couple weeks ago, Coach, that it takes time to turn big ships. You're right. It does take time. But you know what else, though? Ships have a tendency to sink. And right now, this is the Titanic. And it's not going down fast. It's going down fast and hard. And you better start bailing. Because if you really want to turn that big ship around, Aaron Glenn, you got to start bailing out that water. Because right now, this Jet team, forget about turning. They are sinking like a rock. And look, I'll be up next week. We'll be covering this team in London. I'll watch this game. I don't know why I'm going to get up in the morning. I know a lot of you won't. I'll save the trouble if you want to sleep in. Jump on Rich Sports Talk afterward. I'll give you all the latest from the game. I'll give you the breakdown. But look, I think it's going to get ugly. If you had to ask me, it's going to be ugly. We had NY Jets situation report on Friday for our preview. We basically talked about the quarter mark and how this team was in a terrible position. And how he was right, bang the over for the game. And I mean, this was a barn burner, but this wasn't even a close barn burner. It's definitely one of the more frustrating things. And again, if I love the passion from Simpson, I would try to definitely resign him. But the thing too is I just look at the game planning. The defensive one is just horrendous. But even on offense, like, can we design plays for Garrett? Can we start designing plays for Mason Taylor? You made such a deal about Aaron Smith. I mean, they took one shot in this game, but you got to take shots down the field. What does this team have to lose? You're 0-5. Look, this roster is not pretty. They have players, but this is also a Cowboy team that also has a rookie head coach. Let's be honest. When Schottenheimer was hired, many of us thought Jerry lost his mind. And look, I still think there's a long way to go with Dallas. But say what you will, that team has 2 wins. Say what you will, that team that was down 4 offensive linemen, you know what? The offensive coach, whose back was against the wall and was missing a lot of his personnel, he took your lunch money, Aaron Glenn. Your vaunted defense, you're supposed to be the defensive coach. You're supposed to have a great defensive coordinator who has experience. This rookie head coach came into your building and embarrassed you. They embarrassed you. A head coach that many of us thought shouldn't have even gotten the job embarrassed you. Like, Aaron Glenn, Look around at your other rookie head coaches. They're all running circles around you. If you were to ask Jet fans, would they rather have Liam Cohen? They'd probably say yes. We know Vrabel wasn't a possibility. But even Schottenheimer, who we were like, oh, he's just a puppet for Jerry. This isn't going to work. This is going to be a one and done. Their offense has been damn good. He's lived up to his billing. Yeah, their defense is horrendous. But guess what? He's an offensive coach. And guess what? The offense is pretty damn good. You know what you are, Aaron Glenn? You're a defensive coach. And let me check my notes. Your defense is giving up 31.4 points a game and is the only team in NFL history to go the first 5 games without forcing a turnover. Need I say more? Do I really need to say more? Because that's how bad it's been. It has been absolutely embarrassing. And I've come on this show, and I haven't gotten there yet, but I'm telling you, I'm getting close. I usually am one of the most supportive content creators for patience and supporting head coaches. But there are always moments, and there's always a game, and there's always a turning point where I'm like, they cannot come back from this. I saw it with Adam, and I saw it with Robert Saleh. I've seen it with all these previous head coaches. We are getting to that point. And what is really alarming is not just the lack of accountability, the lack of innovation on this defense, but what's really alarming to me, and I said this earlier in the show, Aaron Glenn ripped into this team on Monday night with that performance. And this is what they did. This is the performance they followed up with. I think that says a lot about this coach because if they really care, they say they like this head coach. They say they'll play hard for this head coach. That did not look like effort out there today. That did not look good. That was an embarrassment. And Jet fans, we're tired of it. We're tired of going into offices on Monday. We're tired of going out wearing Jets apparel. We're tired of going out and just going, ugh, the Jets, man. Am I right? Like it is just so embarrassing to see this team week in, week out. And people are saying we had too high expectations. We had such a low bar. I love the meme of we had a low bar, but damn. We had the low bar, just be not the worst head coach staff in the NFL. Just be an average staff. And they look like the worst staff in the league. I've seen nice things from Tanner Engstrom, but the special teams keeps fumbling the football. The defense looks completely outmatched, outprepared, and outcoached. This Jet team, the reason we thought this team could compete was they could run the ball and play great defense. They don't even play great defense. They don't play good defense. They're not competitive. The Cowboys scored 2 touchdowns in the span of about 50 seconds in this game. The Cowboys, who are just trying to get into field goal range, had a running back take it 67 yards. You missed 13 tackles. 13 and a half, not a game. A half. It is absolutely embarrassing. Forget the playoffs. Forget it. Just go out and win games. Just go out and win games. And generally, the start of these games, it's 3-3, 6-3. The scripts for these games are the following. It's close in the first. Something happens in the second quarter. Defense goes into the tank. Offense goes into the tank. Get behind by multiple scores. Other team starts packing in. Jets rally a bit. Jets maybe get a stop or two, get kind of close, and then the other team finishes out or the clock ends. That's basically the way this season has gone. And I know Justin Fields, this isn't his fault because I do think he hasn't been the worst part of this team. But when this is close games, he's struggled. He's getting on this in garbage time. He's getting so – if you want fantasy, great for fantasy. But, the one play to me that summarized this game, and I could pick a bunch, was the Ferguson touchdown. They ran a screen to a tight end, and you're just seeing him lumbering for 26 yards. It reminded me of the 4th and 1 play against the Lions years ago where they had the tight end sneak out. He rumbled 40 yards. No one was around to tackle. It felt like the defense was in slow motion. At least I thought this would be a fast and physical defense. You know the JTS chant? I have a chant for this defense. The Jets defense is SOFT, 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 soft. And I'll tell you this, it is getting dark early. And I like Darren Glenn when he came in. I like the personality. I like what he said. But he's got to learn to stop saying same old Jets. Stop saying these Salah-isms and stop talking about practice. Jet fans could care less in practice. They could care less what you do in practice. They just want competitive football on Sunday. Competitive football. And we are not seeing that again. Final call for chat. Final call to get your comments in. Super chat to jump to the front of the line. What are your thoughts on this game? What are your thoughts on the Jets season going forward? Love to hear from you as always. Again, I know a lot of you are thinking that Aaron Glenn needs to go. I can't argue with you. Like usually I have a countersuit, but I don't have a great argument. What can I say about Aaron Glenn that he does well right now? I don't have one. I don't have a good point. I'm at the point now. I'm dreading this. I hate to think this, but could this team go 0-17? I just look at the schedule, and there's not a game I'm like, wow, the Jets are winning that game. Maybe the Panthers. I think if you were to ask me today, to me, this is a team that's trended to be a 2 or 3 win team, not a 5 or 6 win team. But we are 5 games in. We have 12 games left in the season, and we'll be here after every single one with Rich Sports Talk again. We go live after every Jets game to bring you all the latest analysis and thoughts about the game. Jets fall to the Cowboys 37-22. We'll be back next week to talk about the Broncos. We'll be back here live on Friday to do a preview for the Jets and Broncos. And, of course, we'll have other great sports content on the channel. So make sure to like and subscribe so you don't miss any of our latest content. Again, it was a rough one, but I consider this basically Jets therapy. So, again, make sure to get all your Jet fans in on the channel with a like and subscribe. Share with other fans. Follow us on X. We want to get as many great Jet fans on the community as possible. Again, this is such a passionate fan base. We'd love to have as many Jet fans as a part of the channel as possible. But again, everyone, thank you so much for joining us here today. We'll be back with more Jets content here on Rich Sports Talk. And again, thank you, everyone, for joining us today. You help make these shows phenomenal. But Jets fall to 0-5. Will they stop the skid next week in London? We will see. Thank you, everyone, for joining us. We will see you next time here on Rich Sports.